Are you getting enough sleep at night? And do you know how much is enough and what's appropriate for your age? A lack of sleep can cause an altered mental, physical, and emotional status and can affect your overall health. Not getting enough sleep during a 24-hour period could lead to severe potential risk factors, including depression, mood swings, irritability, and other things that are more serious like stroke, heart attack, or heart failure. Objectives of today will include the risk of not getting enough sleep, how much sleep is needed for your age range, and how it affects your overall health. Most of us don't get enough sleep because we don't understand how much is enough or know how much is what we really need. Sometimes I think we tell ourselves that, if I just power nap for a little bit, I'll have a ton of energy later, which that's really hurting yourself more than helping. The National Sleep Foundation gave us a log in the research that I did on the number of hours required for each age range and what the minimum requirement of sleep is per night. So I'm going to tell you all what the age range and the number of hours that you need per night. Some of them, it all varies from adolescents to the elder 65 and up. So 0 to 3 months requires 14 to 17 hours in a 24-hour period. 4 to 11 months requires 12 to 15 hours. 1 to 2 years old requires 11 to 14. 3 to 5 years old requires 10 to 13. 6 to 13 requires 9 to 11 hours. And this really varies because that's a hard time hormonally for most children. Then 14 to 17 requires 8 hours, along with 65 and up. They both require 8 hours at a minimum per night, and that's the adequate amount. 18 to 25 requires 7 to 9, which is always not easy then at that age because we all have crazy lives, and it's all about balancing and getting enough rest. And then 26 to 64 requires 7 to 9 too. I think that most of us struggle with that because our lives are crazy and things happen every day, and so getting at least 7 hours of sleep is almost a miracle around my house. So the other things that we're going to talk about is what sleep deprivation are. And do you suffer from it? You're about to find out. So when an individual fails to get the required amount of sleep due to just crazy schedules and everything, that's when they're suffering from sleep deprivation. Especially when they aren't getting enough rest and over that 24-hour period. So 1 to 5 people suffer from sleep deprivation, according to the National Sleep Foundation. Factors that lead up to sleep deprivation include irregular work hours or maintaining multiple jobs, then obligations in everyday life, which we all, I'm sure, struggle with, and then other things like medical conditions, either something that comes on later on or something that you struggle with all the time, like sleep apnea. The National Sleep Foundation says that people at risk for sleep deprivation include all male and female. It's not gender specific. Teenagers struggle the most at this, and caregivers that are responsible for giving to other people. That could be either parents taking care of children or children taking care of their parents when they're elders, or people that work shift work that they have a hard time with getting appropriate amount of sleep. The medical news today said that the symptoms of sleep deprivation include moodiness, fatigue, increased appetite, carbohydrate cravings, and forgetfulness. They say when the sleep study said that whenever you don't get enough sleep, you don't function at your best, and that you have a hard time focusing. From my personal experience, I work night shift, and so that is shift work. So I work 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., and I struggled for a long time with sleep deprivation and trying to balance life on top of work. I would get off from work at 7:30 in the morning and go straight to school, and I would stay at school till 10:30. So I would get off at 10:30, come home and sleep for about 3 hours, and then get up and go back to school. And I struggled from things like weight gain because all I was doing was either I was eating poorly or not eating at all. And then I also struggled a little bit from depression because you don't realize how going all the time wears out your body. And trying to have to decide between things is also stressful on top of the stress of work. So, and then on the stress of work and life, then you have the stress of school. And so I often felt lethargic and I just didn't feel like myself, honestly. So I learned in the end that it's all about a balance. You have to have a balance of sleep, food, Exercise, you have to do that to maintain an overall health that is well for you. To conclude, knowing the limits is a part of just life in general and balancing everything. And a 24-hour period is a long time. I guess we think that there's not enough hours in the day sometimes, but that leaves, if you're my age, that leaves 17 hours left over. And once you get the required amount of sleep, you can do life in those 17 hours. So I think we don't think about it that way, and that would really help. Then also, now you know that how much sleep is required for your age range, what sleep deprivation is, and do you suffer from it, and the importance of getting adequate amount of sleep. And those 3 things are key in everything, like focusing on your health and sleep in general. Today, I challenge you that you get at least the minimum amount of sleep for yourself and that you make time for yourself. Thank you.